All right. I'm. Let's see. Is anyone in here yet? No. Soon. We got one. Me. Oh, I think it's me. I'm the only one listening to me. That's fine. I'll just let it ride. See who pops in. Okay, we got four. All right. I might have to unpack my car. I literally just finished moving all of my shit from San Francisco to Massachusetts. I have to pick up my wife and get the cats in a few hours. I was going to record while driving, but this is probably a better time. I probably shouldn't be distracted while driving on the Mass Pike. So, because the drivers here are not the best in the world, let me tell you, not the best in America, but they're certainly better than Chicago drivers. Let me tell you that. Chicago drivers are the worst in the world. I just wanted to go off because I have so many thoughts about everything. I'm probably gonna be talking about this for a while, but I mean I've seen so much of the country that I never saw before. It was really quite an experience. Highly recommend. Wyoming especially is very crazy, cool state to go see. I liked it a lot. It reminded me of New England a lot. Actually, there's a really cool moment in Western Mass. I just crossed back over, and there's a sign that's like the other high. This is the equally high point with the other highest point on I-90 in South Dakota, and I was there a few days ago. I went from the highest point on this highway across the entire continent that spans the entire continent. It was so cool. America fucking rocks. America's so much cooler than fucking Europe. You can see so many different things. It's like the whole world changes. It's like that's the beautiful part of the theme parkization of America is that we actually do have these distinct regional cultures. You can even not even I don't know. It switches all the time. I mean, not even counting all the Indian reservations and stuff way out west, where there's completely different cultural forms and things. Um, Man, I don't know. It's so cool. I love this country. I love this country so much. I want to make it a better place, and that's part of why I kind of moved back. Is I think I can do better if I'm out here. If I'm a little breathy, I'm literally unloading my car full of shit, so I'm gonna be a little breathless sometimes. Okay, but I should probably add some people in. I'll add some people in a second. But my God, it's so cozy being back home, guys. I miss New England. It took me a while to really miss it, I think, but I certainly do now. The Rust Belt's really cool though. Driving just south of. I haven't been to the Great Lakes really. I never really went out to the Midwest that much, but I kind of like the Midwest. Parts of it. Definitely not Chicago. Fuck Chicago. Fuck that place. Chicago has bad vibes. I felt it as soon as I could see the skyline. It wasn't just the traffic and the fact that the drivers there take the breakdown lane, just like fucking psychopaths and just whip by. I had 18 wheelers whipping by in the fucking breakdown lane, and I was like, this is not okay. You guys fucked up. Just wait. I was saying, it's actually a model for civic consciousness in America. I would say because we're basically cars. Everyone's governed as a car. We're just everything's designed for cars. And really, if you don't have a car in most of America, then you're not really a citizen. You're kind of might as well be an illegal immigrant in a lot of ways. If you lose your registration, you can't afford a car, you can't afford insurance, you can't afford gas in a car. You now are getting shoved into this new level of service hell, where you have to take the now benighted and neglected public transport systems across most of the country, most of the buses, things like that. I mean, they've improved a little bit in some places, but nobody wants to be doing that. That's why Americans have such a horrible impression of public transportation, is because we all know the Rockefellers blew that shit up. Anyway, we all know that. We're all woke here. Oh, okay, I'm gonna add some people if anyone wants to hop in because I might have some downtime while I'm moving this shit. I got heavy boxes here, folks. Whew. Shooey. All right. Well, okay. Well, maybe on the next round, someone who wants to hop on here with me. But, oh, god damn. I literally packed I sold so much shit off before I left. Whew. But I still have so much stuff. I literally shipped all of my books, which is I'm looking at all the boxes right now. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 boxes of books. You guys, this isn't proletarian labor. I'm servicing myself. I think this is a good example of my philosophy. Don't hire someone, do it yourself. So, I'm just bringing it up to the room up there. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Whoa. That was good. Oh. Ooh. I bet this is this fun audio, guys? Whew. Oh. Whew. All right, let me think. Trying to inventory things as I went. I mean, I stopped in Salt Lake City and then Lake Tahoe. I'd already been there. Salt Lake City is really bad if you're not gonna stay there for a while and like have time to drive around and stuff. So like we were just trying to walk around and like get some beers, and that's kind of a nightmare. Really, it's like in some cities, just trying to like, can I just walk somewhere and get a fucking beer and sit down is like a very tall order. But in the cities where that's not a tall order, I usually find to be very satisfying. In fact, like somewhere like Deadwood, which is honestly so fun. Oh my God. Deadwood is so fun because it's like boomer paradise. Like in a like kind of MAGA boomer paradise. Like, oh my God, like bikers, like just biker dudes, like bikers for Jesus and like MAGA bikers. It's just like literally all motorcycle gangs out there. It's like the true Wild West still. And they have gambling literally everywhere, which I'm not a huge fan of. I guess I'm a bit of a Puritan in that sense. Not a big fan of casinos. But America really is a giant theme park in that way, where it's like, no matter where you go, a huge industry almost anywhere in America is going to be tourism. Americans love nothing more than to drive around this huge fucking country and check places out, stay at a little themed hotel, like Route 66 type shit. Like movie Cars, this is the American dream America. Everyone owns a car. Everyone owns a sick car. Everyone owns a sick car, and it's really affordable to like just fucking go explore this country. Just go drive out west, go to the Grand Canyon, go to Zion, for all the national parks. That's the attraction of America itself is a giant theme park, and that's why Westworld exists as a show. It's because America is itself a giant theme park. That fits the whole Disneyland hermeneutic I was working on just prior. I kind of feel like I feel like that's obvious stuff, but it proves itself. The proof's in the pudding. If you just go, America is a theme park. I was with a bunch of guests. I was running into like tourists from all over the world when I went to Mount Rushmore. Right, there's tourists from all over the world. You hear languages from all over the world when you're at Mount Rushmore, because Mount Rushmore is a theme park attraction. It's one of the many attractions in the American theme park. And I don't really think this theme park thing is necessarily always bad, right? Like, I like theme parks, man. I'm a big fan of carnivals. I love America so much. I love going to a fucking shitty carnival. I even like casinos. Like, I just like, I think gambling's bad. But I do think that, like, I guess poker's more fun. I guess Texas Hold'em's really more my game, but I wasn't trying to throw any big stacks down or whatever. Maybe we'll get there, guys. Up the Patreon, we can get some logo plays internet poker content. But I like just the games of it. I was playing these chintzy, like fucking Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash themed slot machines with the free money that the hotel like gave me. It was like $10 or whatever. But even that was a good time. It was a good time for $10. That was I didn't have to pay for it. It was just fun to watch these that number go down to zero with the shining lights and like Elvis Presley and shit. What I really missed out on is I was trying to find somewhere along the way where me and my dad could go see the new Elvis movie, because I haven't seen it. And boy, I've been really into the honky tonkin' America sound, because all of this, like 50 plus hours of driving, I think almost 60 hours of driving maybe. I don't remember what it ended up amounting to. I could put it together later. But like, more than a full work week of driving between my father and I was listening to just like tons of honky tonk music, man. I was fucking like we were going down, like I was downloading a bunch of because we were like running through it so fast. I was downloading a bunch of stuff. I don't even remember the names of, because I was changing out the music on my phone every day, like downloaded, because there's not that good a service out there.
for streaming stuff. So I just had to change out my entire music library every day because we're gonna run through the entire thing like every day. So I was listening to a ton of new stuff and like old stuff. I got really into Lord Huron. The new Lord Huron album fucking rocks. Oh my god, that's so many good songs in there. Listened to a ton of Sanford Clark, obviously, one of my favorites. And you know, I literally started tearing up when I put on Jonathan Richman for entering into Western Mass from upstate New York, which is an area I've been to a few times and I have like strong memories of. I used to work on this like traveling book relocation service, like moving library books. That was proletarian labor. That was proletarian labor. I was hired out on the day wage, and I had to live in a motel. I was literally like I lived in like a little like simulacrum company town out of this like shitty roadside motel. I had to live there for like 2 weeks. I worked every day. I didn't have my own car. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. It was literally like it was like fucking slavery. But that was the best job I could get in high school in the summer. And I was really happy to get that money at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Oh, money. Money's a good conversation. But I was talking to my dad about his jobs and things, like when he was younger and like when he was going to college and like how much money. And I was like doing the inflation math and all of that sort of stuff. And so what I figured out was my dad, as a gas station attendant in like 1984, let's say, like in the 80s, early 80s, my dad's a gas station attendant. This is how he's paying the bills for college. He's paying his way through college as a gas station attendant at night in the summer. And, you know, and I think he worked some other jobs like while he was in college too. But he was making $24 an hour, man. The equivalent of $24 an hour in today's purchasing power. Yeah. $4 an hour. I was like, whoa, bro, can I be a gas station attendant for $24 an hour, dude? That sounds like great. You know, like 3 days a week, nighttime gas station attendant, $24 an hour. Oh yeah, please, buddy, give me that job, give me that gig. Man, isn't that fucking crazy? It gets worse if you talk to your grandparents about it. Talk to them about how much money their wages were, how much their purchasing power was with the wages they had. Actually, man, people have no idea. You really like the economy is all just mystification like that. You really have to spell it out at this granular level of detail. How much the purchasing power of it all really is. Like how much does it cost to survive? How much does it cost to have insurance and car insurance, utilities, and all of these things added up, and then you see how much excess do you have on that. And these days, pretty much no one has excess. Pretty much everyone's just default in the state of debt. With way worse rates, man. Way worse rates. Loans, everything. Way worse. It's all just fucking worse, man. But what's good to know is that the Cowboys are going to win in the end. The Cowboys are going to win in the end because, for good or bad, man, for good or bad, I'm not trying to be super optimistic about this because you go out there in the Big West, you know, out in Dick Cheney country. I understand Dick Cheney a little bit more after being in Wyoming. I'm like, this guy is literally, he's just like the Bronze Age, like cowboy. Like he's like an Indo-European warlord. He's just a cowboy. He's for real. Like that's what he is. That's what that whole area is like. And they're like, yeah, we can nuke everyone and we'll just stay right here. Like that's their attitude because they could subsist like to a degree, like not to a super high degree, but you know they have like their own like oil and stuff like that. I mean Texas sort of feels that way too in some senses, but there's way less people in Wyoming. It's the least populous state, so it's like all these people have these huge ranches, man, huge ranches, like shit you never seen before. Like it's big as fuck out there. Crazy landscape out in Wyoming. Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot of things. I want someone else to hop on here to like direct me in some way because now I'm just walking in circles in my driveway talking to myself. So if someone hop on and like ask me questions, poke me, prod me, pretend that this is innately interesting that I just like went on a road trip. But oh cool, we got Beowulf, we got Voidburn, we got Emblemata. All right, that'll be good.
Yo, what's up, Mark Cam?
What's up?
Not much. I'm just sitting in traffic right now on the way to my job.
What's your job?
I'm a wing cook. You know, I'll be dropping wings in the grease and shit.
Actually got wings in Buffalo yesterday.
Oh, you had some wings in Buffalo?
Yeah, my dad was like very adamant that we get buffalo wings. It was like the last thing I wanted to eat because I've been drinking a lot during this drive, like at night on these drives. But that's what we got.
That's dope. You been on a road trip lately?
Yeah, I drove from San Francisco to Massachusetts through like up through like Wyoming. Went up a bit to there, like South Dakota, and then to like Illinois, through Indiana, etc. Went to Omaha, like Nebraska, Iowa, along there as well. Then
God
Buffalo,
damn.
and then from Buffalo to here this morning. I've been doing like 8 hour driving straight days for a couple days in a row. But it's been fun. I love driving, dude. I love driving. I love cruising with the fucking radio on, man. Like the Roadrunner.
Yeah, that shit sounds dope.
It's
Bro, I
great,
don't
man.
even
You
know
ever go
no
on a road
American
trip?
geography. I'd be driving from like Texas to Florida. You feel me?
To
I
where?
don't know if that's
Portland?
considered from Texas to Florida. That's
Oh,
my
Texas to
domain.
Florida? Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
that's a good trip. That's a good trip. Go to Bucky's,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I love roaming the South. You feel me?
Yeah, me too,
Hitting
man.
up all these like kolache spots. Sausage. They got all that shit down here.
You ever go to Czech Stop
Tech
in
stop.
Texas? Yeah, Czech Stop. It's like Czech is
Fuck,
in
I
like
don't
the
think
Czech
I've heard of
Republic.
it. Nah, I've never heard of that.
Oh, dude, you got to go to Czech Stop, dude. It's like in this like little. There's a ton of like Eastern European immigrants to Texas, like along with like the Germans and stuff. So they've got really good Czech stuff. Like that's where kolaches come from. They're kolaches in Czech. So if you want the really good kolaches, you got to go to Czech Stop because it's all the Czechs. It's like the big Czech population.
Yeah, bro. They got
That
like
shit
good
rocks.
kolache spots down here. You feel me? Bunch of good kolache spots.
Yeah, dude. Almost no one knows about kolaches outside of Texas, but I love those, dude. I
Seriously?
miss them. Yeah, it's not a thing outside of Texas.
God damn.
Yeah, dude.
They're
They
like
don't know what they're
necessary
missing.
down here. They're
I know they're
necessary,
like a
bro.
vital food group. Yeah,
Especially like any single donut shop will have them, bro. Every single one.
yeah. Yeah, I think Dunkin' Donuts should have kolaches, but they never will. They don't even know what those are up here.
Oh shit. I've
Yeah,
been to
like
Dunkin'
it's
Donuts
so
once.
funny,
I've been to DD once, bro. When I went to New
dude.
York.
Listen, man. I'll tell you how much Yankees love Dunkin' Donuts. So in this town of like I have 2,000 people in my town. In the county proper, there's like 4 Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there's more Dunkin' Donuts per capita here than anywhere in the world.
That's kind of like us with Shipley's Donuts. You feel me? Because Shipley's was
Yeah.
started in
You guys have
Houston.
that.
Yeah, Shipley's was started in Houston, so that should be all around the block. They're building a new one near me too.
Nice, nice. All right, well,
Dunkin' Donuts to New England is what Tim Hortons is to fucking Canada.
yeah, I felt betrayed in Buffalo when I saw Tim Hortons and not a Dunkin' Donuts. I was like, no, you guys are our boys. Stop being Canadian.
Yeah.
Stop being
Honestly, dude,
Canadian.
upstate New York and Western Mass are the same place. Like as soon as I got into upstate New York, it's the same like flora fauna, it's the same geography, it's the same climate. It's literally the same place. It's literally like where all the Yankees, like Puritans, kept going west over here. They went into upstate New York and then from there into the Midwest, and then from there down to Utah and stuff. And that's how the Mormons got to where they are. But it's very similar to like where I grew up. As soon as I got to upstate New York and Buffalo, I felt at home. Ugh.
Hey,
I
Logan,
heard
let me
Utah.
ask you something.
What's up?
I heard
So,
Utah's beautiful.
I'm from New England also, and I was just wondering what you thought about like, what the fuck is New England's problem? Like, what's wrong with it, and how do we
Austin.
fix
Well,
it?
it's what it is the knowledge corridor, right? So basically, we were the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, right? But we're also the first place that deindustrialized. The Rust Belt, like the deindustrialization of America, actually starts exactly where it started on the Connecticut River, because this was the first place to get rid of its manufacturing. Even a little bit before the 70s, they started winding shit down in the 60s because they had all this infrastructure that was running on like water wheels and shit, and it wasn't providing enough power to do these modern things. They had like mills like for textile manufacturing, like paper mills and things like that. And it was using all this like 19th century like water, powered by the river, itself. So like that wasn't enough to be competitive on like an international market. I guess that was what was considered. So these places shut down first. So this is like really the beginning of the deindustrialization. What did it get replaced with? Well, you got the fire corridor
running up from Hartford to Boston, which kind of sidesteps the entirety of like Western Massachusetts, which is kind of left to hanging out to dry. The people out here don't get any funds allocated to anything around here. Like we've been dying for railroad out here to return the railroads we used to have out here for a long time, and like it never gets done. That's what Train Man, Alex Train Man. He's from right out here. That's like his goal in life, and that's why I like him so much. Like we get along really well because we have the same vision of like improving Western Mass because it's a beautiful place. I love it. I love Massachusetts, man.
Have you ever taken a trip up to the Ma Bell? Oh, it's like 30 minutes from Holyoke.
Yeah.
It's so sick. I took my Jeep up there and fucking in the middle of winter, and I made it like a quarter way through, but I started slipping because there was too much snow.
Yeah.
So I went
I don't
back
think I've
home.
done it in the
But
winter.
there's like I want to do the Ma Bell and I want to do Jeep Eater. And it's gonna be there's some like cool stuff in New England that we take for granted, like, and a lot of people neglect like all the industry that used to be there.
Yeah.
It's really
No, it's
sad
because
because
it's like Boston
in
sucks
the
up all the money, dude. Boston and Hartford suck up all the money, and they just like don't allocate anything out
yeah
here because all they care about is facilitating capital transit between like New York and Boston, and like what's in Boston now. It's like pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies. It's all companies that effectively make money on rent here like intellectual property shit or just like servicing capital. But that's like most of the economy anyway. It's just that like
if you look at if you go to Hartford, if you go to West Side Hartford, it's like really shitty.
Hartford's
But then
awful.
like the rest of like Hartford, yeah, the rest of Hartford is like there's no. It's all like it's financial institution, banks, and then there's like a law firm, financial institution, law firm, financial institution, law
Yep.
firm. Like in it, if as you're driving through streets, like you'll see them in a cycle.
Yeah.
Like as you're driving through the street.
Yeah, it's sort of like the same sort of thing where it's like payday loan, dollar store. Like that's the equivalent. Like those two things go together. Is like in order to have streets where
Yeah.
everything is law firms and specialist services, where it's like dentist, law
The
firm, dentist, foot doctor. You know what I mean? And like that's
I
all that's there.
I think it's really awesome that you bring up like the origin of American
On the
industrialism,
Connecticut
like
River.
in how it started Connecticut, the Thames. Because in the city that I live in, like what I really fucking people don't remember that like in Connecticut we used to have Remington factories,
Dude,
Winchester, like
Massachusetts is chasing out Smith and Wesson right now. They're the
yeah,
last fucking industrial thing here is getting sent down to Tennessee real fucking soon. So it's
stupid.
so dumb, dude. Like, yeah,
Well, they also
Springfield is not going to be in Springfield. It's retarded.
we used to have in Connecticut we used to have like shipbuilders. We used to have shipbuilding, and we used to have airplane manufacturing, along with like munitions manufacturing. Like it's
Well, there's
all
still
gone. It's all gone.
like there's a lot of there's a lot of I mean the thing is like what's still going is like the military shit, right? You got like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed.
Yeah. Well, more specifically, you got like General Dynamics and like Electric Boat. They're very big in both Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. They have like a stranglehold
Yeah.
on the local economy.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, we need
So
more like
if you want to work, if you want to be able to make a livable wage in New England and have you have to have a car
Yep.
in order to get to your job.
Yep.
And then you're usually going to be working for General Dynamics or Electric Boat because they're the ones that pay above minimum wage with like little to no experience.
Yep. Or you're going to be around somewhere like that. There's actually some manufacturing here. There's like specifically like chemical manufacturing. There's some precision some like more precision mechanical labor like God, I know people in like fabrication where they're making like little parts for things, you know what I mean, where it's like specialty parts. God, I'm trying to think of an example, but we used to still make like lenses and stuff. So like really the more specific like higher like intensity, or not higher intensity, but higher skill like skilled labor in industrial production stuck around a little bit longer. But the mass in the like, like the saddest thing to me, man, was I was on the Erie Canal, and it's like I was like, they used to move so much steel here, like they shut down the steel, like there's an empty steel plant in Buffalo, and I was just like, man, this used to, and you could see like the houses that people built off of a one fucking salary steel mill job, and it's like that's a mansion today,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. New
Shit's
England
crazy
is.
how they used to build those houses back then,
Yeah, dude.
and now
Yeah,
we
no, there. If you look at if you look at Victorian era housing and how the carpenters used to build them.
Yeah, dude.
If you compare, like a wooden header from back then to a wooden header now, like it's twice the thickness, and they would use like high quality
Yeah,
pine,
dude. The carpenters,
like
dude.
really thick
You
fucking.
ever see like the Carpenter's Gothic mansions out like up here? Like they're so fucking good looking, dude. That's why I gotta stay up here because I wanna
And the
fix
thing
up an
is,
8 bedroom.
they're not only do they look high quality, but they last for so long because of
yeah
the 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 way that they would use such thick pieces of, like, for the king studs and the jack studs and the headers. The framework of the housing, it's so incredibly strong. Like, they last for a very long. That's why you see so many old houses, and there's all these rumors about New England being
Oh,
haunted
it's
and stuff
definitely
because,
haunted, but that's a different story.
yeah.
I'm from one of the oldest. Like, dude, I'm in one of the oldest. Like, I'm in an old town right now, dude. Like this area, dude. I'm not that. I'm like 2 miles away from where John Thomas Pynchon's ancestor and John Winthrop Jr., who were making deals over the this mine here for the beginning of like the industrial production lines for like like refineries. They were looking for they it wasn't what they thought it was, the mine here. It's like graphite, I believe, but they wanted this land, so they have the original like agreement that he made with the Native American tribe here, for like the ability to like use it or at least try to like get something out of it. And he signed it with John Dee's Monas Hieroglyphica. And I'm standing like 2 miles away from that right now.
Oh, and
I do.
they still got the agreement like inside the library somewhere.
Yeah.
Like the actual piece.
Yeah.
Golly, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's pretty wild, dude. My friend's house, like one of my best friends, he lives right down the road. His house is like almost 100 years older than the country. Then the United States of America, like, was 1776. No, it's from like the 1600s.
Oh, that's crazy.
And they don't build them like that anymore. The proportions of it are so different. Like the way that they built houses, like the way, like everything is so different. Like people would not accept the stairs that this kid has in his house. It's much more like a barn building, And he actually has a huge barn too. That's that old that we fixed up and we used to hang out in when I was a teenager. Good times. But yeah, dude, I'm so happy to be back in the country, dude. I fucking love America. Love the big America, the big open sky, the horizon, the rendering horizon at the end of the white line of the highway, man. I love America. So,
Yeah,
it's
you see a
beautiful.
bunch of crazy. I like seeing the billboards.
We could integrate the Amtrak into the World Land Bridge.
Yeah, of course. Well, the thing is you should look up, if you can look at what the map of trains and available trains, and let's say like 1896 in New England. I think that was roughly, I don't know. If you really want to know, you ask Alex the train man because he knows everything about this. But if you really look at it, you can see how many train lines. Actually, there's an abandoned train line, like a couple 100 yards away from me, I think, in the woods here. So back in the day, I could have grown up right here. There was a house here, not like before we built one here. It was farmland. There used to not be a forest here. It was all just rolling hills of fucking farmland. And, you could hop on the train and go into the city. You could get on that. And then when you got off there, you could get onto another train and go into Boston. Or you could go up north. You could go up to Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. You could just hop trains around. They weren't even that far. It was walkable distances in between these places. Like you could get almost anywhere on trains, streetcars.
Back when I was like back in like 2015 or 2014, I could I could take an Amtrak between the states, and it would be like a super short, convenient ride. And nowadays, like it's like they always have to stop in like halfway through the route, and then you have to get off on a Greyhound, and the Greyhound has like garbage and coffee and
Yeah, man.
all over the floor. It's so much shittier now. It's just been getting worse and worse. And and like you said, like you used to be able to like you walk to the bus stop and take a bus to your nearest like Amtrak station. Go in a
You're cutting out a little bit, but I think I get you. Yeah. We used to have really good public transit. I just hear wind from you, man. You gotta rejoin or something because you sound like I'm removing these two. All right. Whew. Started to sound like a fucking wind tunnel there, man. Whew. Was not digging that. All right, we got Rick Mendoza. I'm gonna talk to Rick. I'm done unloading stuff now, guys. So I've got my full attention. Got my full attention for like 30 minutes. And then I gotta start getting ready to go into Boston. Woo!
Kips by H.G. Wells.
What's up?
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone now. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. Yeah. What? Rick, you said something.
Kips by H.G. Wells. Have you gotten into that?
I just heard you say H.G. Wells. That's it. Hello? I don't know. It's okay. I'll add the AirWolf back on too. We'll see if the audio situation's better. I don't know if it's my end or not. I am pacing around outside, maybe at the edge of my Wi-Fi range here. I don't know how good it is anymore. We need better internet out here, though, man. We got fucking screwed by the cartels. We got screwed by the cable cartels out here real bad. I get fucking Connecticut cable, and they don't give a fuck about us. And our lines go down, and they just like they don't give a shit because they don't get that much money from this part. And it sucks, dude. Fucking sucks. We got so shafted by the cartel. God.
Is it better? Like I had my AirPods in.
Yeah. That's better.
Okay. Yeah. Have you read Kips by H.G. Wells?
Kips? No. I haven't read a ton of H.G. Wells. I read like, God, like war. I read most of the H.G. Wells I read when I was younger. Some of the stuff that's like more like world government planning stuff. I'm trying to remember the names of his books, but he wrote like fucking too many books, so I haven't read that one. No.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, no, this one was revelatory, man. I'm reading it, and he's like, I DM'd you about it, but it's like, it's basically, I find it to be like the spawn of like, or like the genesis of like where political correctness starts, because it's like the book is called Kips: A Life of a Simple Man, and what he does is like he doesn't do anything that's like absurd or like outside like the consensus normal.
Mm-hmm.
So like the whole book is like him like doing this, just like being like just kind of like a prole, just like walking around, just like trying to like like the second chapter I'm reading right now is about him and the shopkeeper, and this is the part I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Was the shopkeeper, all he did was like he said he went to the academies, but it really just meant that he's just spent like spoke more broken English. Like he was like, oh, you don't get the bit of a bit at the inventories, eh?
Oh, he sounds British.
Yeah. Because he's like, you ain't gotta get the academia like me, eh? And then like Kips was like he made himself breakfast that morning, and he was like, he said, this is the part I really wanted to tell you about. It was like, only an imperial man would call it coffee. An imperial British man would call it coffee.
What would a working class man call it? A cup of Joe?
Yeah, like something like a brew or like something
Yeah. That's true, dude. Dude, actually, I had an experience with Starbucks baristas this morning that I wanted to share with everyone because it explains exactly why this is not a real fucking job and why no one should have to be humiliated to do it. I was staying in this hotel room and I went down thinking they had a complimentary breakfast thing. I just wanted to make my own fucking coffee. I wanted to pour a ton of milk in it. And because I was a bit hungover and I was like, I think this will be better for my stomach and I'll probably metabolize better. But I had to go down and I realized it's a Starbucks. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the two guys there are like, they look like SoundCloud rappers. And it's like, oh, yeah, you guys definitely don't want to be fucking working here. And they're like looking at me like I'm fucking like wasting their day. And I'm like, listen, man, I was like, I gave them my order. And what do they do? Do you know what they had behind there? You know, the carafes full of coffee that you just like press the pump and the coffee comes out of it that they have in hotels? They just had that behind a counter and I had to pay for it. And I was like, why the fuck can't I just make my own goddamn coffee? Jesus Christ.
That's funny as fuck. They just miserably look over at you like, oh, this
Yeah, and I'm like,
guy.
I don't want you here
And
either.
then they press a
I'm like, I
button.
don't want you here
They
either.
press a button on a Keurig.
Yeah.
They press a button on a Keurig, and then they just waste minutes of their life
They're like, and they're
having to
pissed
do
off, and
this
they're like, I
stupid
don't make
job.
enough to do this fucking bullshit. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to do this bullshit at all. That's what I'm saying. That's what they don't get. I'm not like, oh, you should do this, but you make 10 cents an hour. I'm like, don't do this job shouldn't even fucking exist. Like, not in this form. Like, if you want to have a real barista, like, have a local coffee shop with some guy whose life passion is coffee, where you pay for that, you know? All right. Beowulf, Beowulf. I can hear like you're like that's. It's like I stuck my head out the window like a dog. I'm sorry. It's been nice talking to you, but it's just too loud for me. Oh man. Oh, what were we talking about? I got a headache from the wind.
You were talking about how if there were like a service
Yeah, you want
industry
it to be
involving
actually,
coffee, it
you
should be
want it to be actually a service. For instance, like I was talking to my father about this because he was a teacher
yeah.
forever, you know, and a teacher's a service work, like, you know, where he was saying like, you know, it's like you get screwed, like you don't make as much money as teachers ought to, but at the same, like really, like a really devoted teacher, like you, if you are in a public school and you're really good at it, then your move is to like go teach at a private school where you're going to make real, like the money that you probably deserve to be making for your skills, right? But like you're doing that like because no, you're doing that. You're literally doing that because you actually are, you know, you are passionate about the thing and you want to teach it to the best ability you can. And you have more freedom as a teacher to do that at private schools a lot, like most of the time, than you would in public schools a lot of the time. I mean, obviously, there's tons and tons and tons of contingencies because of how we run the school system here. But that's an example of where the not all of what you're getting paid for is like you're doing it primarily because it's like a calling, like a service in a lot of ways is like it should be like a calling. You're literally doing a service for the commons. Like you were saying, like, I want to serve the people. Like that is what a service job should be at its like peak, right? So like imagine the guy who's like, I'm gonna open up my coffee shop because I'm gonna serve these people like the best cup of coffee. Like I'm gonna teach them all about coffee. I'm gonna like curate this like beautiful space that like people will want to be comfortable in and like spend time in and will be willing to pay for that service the amount that is like reasonable for me to survive as someone who's like this devoted to this thing, you know, who has like who has a calling to do this in a way. Like it's like in some ways like a cook or whatever. It's like a spiritual calling, I think. Like at its highest, where it's like this is like my art form. Like, you know, it's like you're an artist if you're a service worker, if you're doing a damn good job of it, right? Like you're an artist in some way. But what is art supposed to serve? Like just your own self-interest? Like obviously not. That's the problem with service workers in general, is that they as a class consciousness, if they are like not, you know, like understanding their that they actually subsist off of people who do different kinds of work than they do, different in kind entirely, and with a completely different relation to capital. Like if you're a fucking like guy who's like a big coffee guy, right? You're the big coffee guy. You're like Luke in Gilmore Girls or something, right? Like his like real calling in life is sort of he's almost like a Puritan Yankee preach. I like Luke in Gilmore Girls. I'm wearing my baseball hat backwards right now in honor of Luke from Gilmore Girls. Because he's a service worker, but he's a real service worker because that restaurant is his fucking life. That is his mission from God. It is a holy vocation that he has inherited from his father and his father and his father. And that's what a real service work is. That's a real service worker. That's a real service worker. A driver who is a lifetime, like he is the driver, you know, the driver. I call it like a like so like a service work is really should be a spiritual vocation. So that's why it's like, well, like, you know, let's say you now like you've flattened out what this service was, you create an illusion of it, right? It's like this Starbucks experience. And what is it really? Like, is it even, does it even have that authenticity that like the real thing has? Like, no, it doesn't. It's completely hollow.
It's an obsolete myth.
And it's not like the employees there are feeling that way about it. You know, they're not passionate about it. They're not, but you know, they're trying to get them to be by doing shit like this, where it's like, oh, well, aren't you passionate about your Starbucks union and how we're like at the progressive forefront of coffee service distributors? Like, oh, the vulgar Dunkin' Donuts workers don't have a union. It's because they're not woke like you.
Workers. That's a really That way of putting it really exposes the cynicism.
It's extremely cynical. Also, people don't realize that they're just literally this is part of their own public relations strategy of like they have to alter like their retail situation because the whole commercial real estate and supply chains and like where the demand for their services really has changed due to all of these work from homers going to different places. So Starbucks is going to be changing up their retail strategy in general, right? And part of that is going to be downsizing. It's going to be downsizing masked with a cost of living adjustment disguised as a sort of proletarian union, where it's like, really, at the end of the day, whatever concessions they're going to get from Starbucks Enterprises here is going to bring them maybe at best to the purchasing power of their wages 5 years ago. Honestly.
Well, look at the you shouldn't not just. It's good that you pointed out that the for some reason within this very narrow view, like the consciousness that's like that can be observed in like the average Starbucks worker, it's not a consciousness that's capable of not acknowledging that like their work only exists in tandem with other people that have different types.
Serve people. Like they have to serve people, and those people have to be doing something in order to be able to be served by them.
I was gonna say, look at the clientele, the type of clientele that is most commonly like consuming Starbucks. It's usually cosmopolitan, like liberal bourgeois.
Yeah, and why is that? It's because they don't want to go to Tim Hortons. They don't want to get their coffee at McDonald's. They don't want to get their coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. They're actually choosing to pay a premium for what is effectively the same product. It's like fast foodization of coffee, the coffee experience or whatever, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. Although my ideal form is just going to the fucking gas station, having pre-made coffee, and just making your own fucking goddamn coffee because it's not that hard. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. And people can't make their own goddamn coffee. Oh, I need the espresso. Well, then put an espresso machine in the coffee thing and learn how to make. Like, let's all learn how to make fucking espresso. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple, folks. Not that hard. You can make it yourself.
Well, you also have like the instant coffee stuff, like the instant coffee packets and stuff. Like those can be.
Yeah, but that's not even like those are fine too. I'm saying there's a million ways to get your coffee. There's no reason why this Starbucks experience is itself essential. The reason why they consider it essential is because they literally buy into the marketing that it's like a unique experience. No, the coffee here is better. It's totally unique and different. There are places that are like that, but they're much smaller chains. Like, for instance, my wife is going to be real sad that we can't go to Phil's anymore in SF because it's a more regional chain. It's actually smaller. It's actually more like what Starbucks like pretends it is. And what the coffee that they make is actually it's way more expensive, like vastly more expensive than Starbucks. Like there's a substantial increase in the price because the product is actually uniquely like different and better than what you can get elsewhere, or you can make yourself really because they have more like they do more. They're doing a better service. Like it's a more luxury service really, and that's what it is. All of this is luxuries, and people should have luxuries, and you can work in luxury businesses and things like that, but you can't have an only luxury economy. Like you can't have only luxuries. That doesn't make any sense. Like, what is America really? America really is the commodities exchange in fucking Chicago where the price of a hay bale is set. That's America. Do you know how many I was just counting up the hay bales, looking at the market rate, and I was like, that's 130, that's 130, that's 130, that's 130, that's 130, that's 130, that's 130. They do metric tons of this shit. Metric tons, that's the real backbone of the American economy. We export all that shit. We don't even use it all.
We export hay bales?
Yeah, we export more hay bales than we use.
What the fuck? Wasn't there that whole fucking like controversy about how like we produce enough food to feed the entire population 3 times over, but it's just like it doesn't get distributed.
A lot of that is like we're kind of the way that people take that is like wrong, but we do export food. We're a net food exporter for sure. The reason why we do that is because what we do to other countries, we go, hey, don't grow stuff like basic stuff for your own subsistence, like I don't know, like lettuce, potatoes, corn, etc. Like for instance, Mexico. Hey. Mexico is our number one trade partner when it comes to corn. Mexico. Why doesn't Mexico grow its own fucking corn? Think about that. Why is that? Because the IMF won't let them.
like one of the countries that has like tortillas and shit.
you can also
Why
look at
doesn't
like
it
a
have
country
its own?
like South Korea or Japan. They also have economies where they have zero wheat production in Korea, zero. In fact, and then there's no cattle being raised in ROK at all because their
Yeah,
entire
America
economy is
feeds the
basically a
world.
slave.
We
Yeah, America
we
makes
feed
the
the
world
world.
its slave.
But
Yeah.
isn't that? Yeah, I was about to say that relationship. Just because we feed the world, it seems it's not really.
That's what's really disturbing about like liberals who want to say, "Oh, we have to."
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Hey.
People.
The physiocrats got him.
The physiocrats got him. Oh my god. Hello? Am
Yeah,
I
but
getting disconnected?
it is a very mess. Yeah. No, you should still be
No,
on.
it's all good. You
Listening
should
to
be
you.
on. I don't know. I don't know if it's me or the service
Oh, okay.
itself. I'm gonna sit
No, it's
still. I've been
probably me
pacing.
because
Maybe
I'm
that's
in
a
the middle of
problem.
Montana. I'm in the middle of Montana right now,
Yeah,
so the
that might do
connection's a
it.
bit shit.
Oh, Montana's cool. I was in Montana for like 20 minutes, like at the very corner of it, you know?
Oh yeah, which part?
You guys just reminded me of that Thomas Sankara quote where he talks about how like we don't want your food aid, like we want machines to till the soil, we want the seeds to grow our own food, we don't want food itself, we want independence, we want sovereignty, you know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like there's all these devil's bargains that were made in like the back rooms of America over a long period of time where it's like all wrapped up into itself, right? Where it's like the farmers are like, hey, like I actually need these subsidies because the bank's charging way too high of rents on my like land. Like I own a fuck ton of land. You keep raising the property taxes, etc. So it's like everyone's in this like escalating, like it's all a Mexican standoff. Like everything in this economy is like everyone is like trying to like balance a complete like war of all against all. Like it'd be like, hey, aren't we all on the same team here? And it's like, well, not really, man. I mean, kind of. We all, I guess, we're all on the bank's team now because we all have guns to each other's heads.
That reminds me of when Richard Wolff was talking about how like the COVID-19 lockdowns caused like this cascading disintegration of like all the like legal infrastructure that holds our economy in place. Like now it's like a literal fucking free for all where you have this cascading effect where the small business owners can't pay the lease to the banks, and then uh, the banks can't like pay off like the debts that they
Yes,
have to
this is
like.
literally
Why
what
do you
Michael
think?
Hudson writes about.
Yeah, why do you
That's
think?
all
Why,
it
Yeah,
why,
is.
why do you think the fucking government was so keen on giving money to people, like with the whole like basically the UBI fucking shit? Why do you think the government is so keen on that? Because they're trying to prevent a collapse that is already occurring. They're inserting more money into the economy at an ever like increasing rate, and the Fed knows it's not gonna fucking work. The Congress knows this
Yeah,
shit is gonna come down someday.
the government is cracking down so hard that they've altered the definition of a recession on Wikipedia, like by
Yeah,
executive fiat here.
yeah.
Like, you know, but these people are like, oh, well, why don't you look it up on dictionary.com? It's like, oh, I guess like, you know, the CIA has changed the definition. Oh, well, whatever. That's the definition now. I looked it up in the definition. The definition book says the
Well,
definition is the definition.
actually, Logo. Didn't you see this New Economist article? It says we're actually not in a recession. They
Yeah,
changed the
actually,
definition
what
5
is a
minutes ago.
recession really?
Yeah,
This is a
exactly.
recession
we're
that this recession identifies as progress.
Exactly.
we're actually not in a recession, and that's a verified Snopes
This is called
fact.
an
Yeah,
economic
fact check.
slowdown, right?
It's called an
Yeah,
economic slowdown.
yeah, yeah.
We could say that the economy's gotten retarded. That's
Dude,
what
you
we
know
could
what's
say.
crazy is that even fucking President Hoover was not like that fucking stupid to call the Great Depression an economic slowdown. When the fucking Great
Yeah, dude.
Depression happened, he called in like every single business leader in America and like actually made a plan to say, okay, this is how we're gonna
Because
fix
we
the
don't
fucking
even use
economy.
those same words anymore. Like we're so like far straight. Like we don't even use the word body politic. We don't even think of like the state as like an
We don't talk about
anatomy
the
at all.
Commonwealth. We don't talk about the Republic. We talk about our democracy, and we talk about the free world. And what is the free world? It's not America. It's the internet. It's the international market. It's London, London. It's all the exchanges. That's what they mean.
You know what's
They're just
crazy
talking
is
about
that
the cities.
what's crazy is that this concept of the free world is vague, and it's vague on purpose because its object, like its goal, is to conquer the world. When we're talking about the free world, it isn't like, because when you see like people like I don't know, article writers for like the New York Times, whatever, when they talk about the free world and like specifically about it, they're like, oh, we don't know how to define the free world. It could be the West, it could be in America, it could be Europe. We don't really know. That kind of language is built for a purpose. Its purpose is to dominate the globe.
Yeah, are you in the free world? Do you identify as being a member of the free world?
Exactly.
Gun to your head. Are you free? Are you free right now? Yeah, I'm free. I'm free right now. You're my best friend too. I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's fucked, man. But you know what? It's all gonna collapse. I don't know. Well, we got like Nancy Pelosi is literally like following the footsteps of fucking Alan Dulles right now, right before the Korean War. So I don't know. I'm seeing they're moving all the aircraft carriers over the South Pacific. They're moving them aircraft carriers down the South Pacific. I don't know. It's getting a little heated over there. Think something might go down. I don't know. Maybe
the Chinese might attack us any moment. You know, for an Archduke Pelosi was gonna get a little bit of a whack if we don't do something, guys.
No. What's gonna happen? They're testing to see. This is all fucking planned. They want to just see what the response is gonna be. So they're just teasing it, and then like so then if anything, if they're like do anything, then she's gonna land in Japan and talk about Chinese aggression, right? She's gonna talk about Chinese imperialism and land in Japan and do that, right? They blow up her thing, then obviously we go immediately. We got to save Queen Nancy Pelosi. You'll see those candles burning bright everywhere. Those gas station Nancy Pelosi Queen candles. Those will be burning votive offerings to the saint Nancy Pelosi, who died for our sins.
See, this is okay. This is why I kind of, in some ways, I respect like Orthodox and like some Catholic Christians a little bit more, because at least they have an idea in their heads. Like we don't sanctify people who don't deserve it, right? But I feel like Protestants in America will sanctify anyone, though. They literally will.
I think the Catholics long ago lost that, buddy. Ignatius of Loyola is a saint. I mean,
The Catholics thought the Christians were Eastern mystics. Like they fucked up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I mean, like the whole story. We all know the Pope's the damn Antichrist now. We got that good old religion here in America, man. I'm bringing it back. I'm starting the burned over district again. I'm gonna fucking rouse up the upstate New Yorkers and the Western Massachusetts. I'm gonna go up to Vermont. And I'm gonna fucking punch Bernie Sanders in the face.
What if it's not just a bluff and they really are just sending her over to China and she's accepted her fate because she's like, I'm old anyways, I'm gonna die soon. And
no. I doubt that very much. What's going on is she's gonna be calling in from there. She's like, okay, yeah. So we've already seen them on the radar. We're not going to let them nearly come close to intercepting us. We're going to leave. They've pushed we've identified that they come to fly out to like do something. So we're just immediately going to leave that airspace. We're going to go land in Japan, and you're going to go long on Northrop Grumman, Raytheon. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
she's going to make a lot of money. You got like man. I saw the Daily Show for the first time in a hotel room like in years, and he described Nancy Pelosi as a champion of Taiwanese independence, as if it was like he was talking about gay marriage, like it was like the same tone and like a triumph that.
But it is the same
for any progressive. Effectively, it is. Yeah,
it literally is.
Wait, was that Trevor Noah that said that shit?
Yeah.
Damn, Jon Stewart should be. Jon Stewart
would say that shit. Are you kidding me? We're gonna get Jon Stewart interviewing like the Secretary of Defense or whatever, the transgender Secretary of Defense in Taiwan, their cyber defense person or whatever, who identifies as an anarchist. We're gonna have like this person's gonna be the next Zelensky. Are you kidding me? They already set that shit up. All of this has been set up. Like things. People underestimate the amount of planning that happens. Like the Department of Defense is the biggest corporation in the entire fucking world. If you don't think that they have fucking 5-year plans, if they don't have big geostrategic plans, that they're not making fucking big moves, like you're just stupid. I don't know.
As Pastor Ingalls said, he said that the capitalists have a monopoly on all means of existence.
That's true.
The same with like the CIA spending over $100 million like in Hollywood and video games and.
Yeah, dude. You just look. You got Zelensky in vogue, dude. They're in vogue. Think about that. They're in vogue.
Literally in vogue.
Literally in vogue. It's literally they control fashion. They literally control fashion. That's how things work. It's all about fashion. That's why influencers matter, right? It's all about influencers and what's fashionable.
It always has been.
And you want to make
It
sure
always has been.
you want to make sure that what we want is not fashionable, right? Like we are trying to make certain things fashionable, right? Like we're like, hey, the ideas that we're talking about, the type of America that we want to see, the problems that we can address, the truth in the world that we want to witness, that is going to be fashionable. I'm making that fashionable.
Bro, look at. I'm sorry. I'm taking shit a little bit off topic, but so I quote tweeted a Pat Sock Moments thing that was trying to like make fun of one of our followers. And the guy said, soon holy men with forges will forcibly confiscate and begin smelting your precious video games, your 9-monitor PC setups, and your Tamagotchis for the metals. We will begin smelting the phones of all your followers, the hammer and sickle emojis and Ukraine flag emojis for the coltan, which we will give back to Africa to restore Lake Chad and build the cross-continental rail. We will build the land bridge and we'll make leftists pay for it. And then some guy fucking responded and said, I'm sorry, you want Africa nuked and everyone responsible for that policy blood eagled? Because I don't think you really understand how much anger is being channeled into video games. And
What?
all I was what the fuck?
That's so they're like, listen, dude, if we don't give our like psychotically, socially engineered, on drugs, alienated, psycho terrorist, fucking torturer youths, if we don't give them their murder simulation games, if they don't have endless infinite murder simulation games to play, like military simulations for like, you know, drones and things like that, and using all of these really to just be able to make AI like run war machines. If we can't allow all children in America to be tethered to training the data set of the future fucking drones that will murder us all, then they're gonna do it in real life. There'll be more school shootings. Maybe that's true.
Oh
Maybe there
my!
would be more school shootings if we banned video games. Who knows?
I disagree. I don't think that's the case.
Well, I mean immediately though. I'm saying that like these people are kind of like people. It's literally an addiction, right? Like it's gaming. Like what is gaming? The gaming industry, right? What's the gaming industry in America? It's casinos ultimately, right? And like they're making casinos for children. It's the same thing. They look at neurologically how to make people as addicted as possible to games. You know, this stuff has been done by the people in the gaming industry, which again primarily profits from casinos.
You know
That's
what's
just so
crazy? That
sad,
video
man.
games have always been casinos. Think back to like the first video games,
Not
like at
pinball.
arcades and shit
That's
like that.
actually there was a huge court case. So pinball is the exact example. Whereas like pinball was considered gambling, right? It was considered gambling, and pinball machines were banned across the country. That's why pinballs became this like symbol of like the 20th century and things like that. Is because they literally were going into places and like taking out like the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms would be going in, busting people for having pinball machines and taking them out because they were like, this is like a game of chance, and like these games of chance are like, you know, count as gambling. And so they actually had to have like people who were really good at pinball prove in the Supreme Court that it was a game of skill, because then it's not gambling. So then it's really like, okay, are our video games games of skill or games of chance? And it's like, well, kind of. There's some skill, sort of, to some of them. That's really like more or less of a degree. But it's like, where does the majority of the profits come from? It comes from the ones that are more or less like I don't even know. Like, how do you describe something like Farmville? What is that? I don't know.
I mean, okay, think of it this way. I mean, like to play poker, for instance, which is definitely a gambling game. Like you need skill, otherwise you're gonna fucking lose immediately. So I mean, the same thing could easily be applied to like 99% of video games, which are
But that's
basically
still in
just
like the realm of
microtransaction
like
hell.
the scribble. I feel like poker and like card games, that's still in like the scribble realm. Now that like post pinball, I feel like that's like in the digital realm. You can go off on that one.
Yeah, I got you there. But most people are playing like digital poker. You know, like when it comes to the poker sales, that's ultimately like there's tons of digital, and internet poker is like way bigger than like, you know, I like playing poker like at a table, you know, with like friends and stuff. And like, I don't know, I don't really like gambling. I told you I'm a bit of a Puritan. I don't like I feel dumb like just throwing money away.
I'm playing video games right now while we talk, and I don't feel a homicidal urge to nuke the continent of Africa.
No,
So
what that person is saying is that like they're all low key, like hard, like super racist against black people for not being as woke. Like because like, you know, they blame like ultimately like, you know, Bernie Sanders, like didn't appeal. because the African Americans in like the DNC coalition, they're actually much more pragmatic in the sense that they know that it's like they're in the patronage system, and you know what I mean. Like that's like they you know what they're just they're doing what they can for their particular interests. But these people who are like they're like the ones where it's like, well, we're the leaders of the party, so you should do as we say. They're the plant. Like honestly, when they say the DNC is the plantation, they're not wrong. It really is. The Southern Democrats, it's like, come on, guys. Like we all know where this party really came from, right?
Everyone seems to forget the ancient origins of the Republican and Democrat parties.
Oh, they go. Oh, there was a time where they switched. Actually, it was because Nixon was racist, so they actually switched sides.
Right.
They did a oopsie right. They just switched sides. Switch sides.
That's how
really
politics
quick.
works.
Yeah, that's how politics works. Nixon did a racism, so now the Democrats are the progressives. Literally, where does the term progressive even come from? It's a Republican term that they abandoned a long time ago. It's so funny.
That is like the most ironic fucking shit. American politics is so fucking ironic.
It's literally the greatest show on it. We are the entertainment of the globe, as I've been saying. Like that's what we exist as.
Yeah.
We're Westworld, dude.
That's why everyone. I whenever I go abroad, and I go abroad fairly often, people I talk to people about like American politics. They fucking know more about American politics than their own damn country.
They know more because American politics is one of the greatest. It's a show business, dude. It's a fucking show. It's the narrative, right? We're talking about the narrative. What does that mean? It's literally like a live action, like alternative reality game that's like so superimposed over this that it like immanentizes these simulacrum events to come into existence, like where it's like I don't know, but it's been that way for so long, especially as the media tech has advanced. It's all about mind control. Like that's really what it's about. That was what we fought over in the 20th century. Is like, how do we convince the Soviet citizens that they want to be Americans, right? They want to go buy blue jeans. They want to listen to Bruce Springsteen. They want to be free,
right?
And like they actually had a point there to a degree. I think, the Soviet Union failed for reasons, right? For good reasons. Like, I think it's mostly because they, alienated the shit out of their actual people that they were governing, in the sense that, like, these people, like, did not want to abandon their traditional faith. Obviously. Like, if you're going to choose between...
one of the greatest mistakes that ever...
If you're going to choose if you ask a Christian to choose between a political end and their devotion to their Lord and Savior, like, they will die. Like, it's literally like, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to create a bunch of Christian martyrs. That'll be good for us in the long run, right? Everyone who martyrs Christians ends up right in the end, right?
No.
I think the greatest mistake the Soviet Union made was just making the focal point of its efforts, like appeasing like the fucking what are they called?
The intelligentsia.
There's like a specific name for them. Yeah, the intelligentsia, the fucking kids of the bureaucrats.
Yeah, it's because they were. The thing is that because the Bolsheviks are really closer to the British style, the British and the Swedish understanding of socialism. It makes sense because they're actually so tied to all of that, like the history of the Baltics and whatnot. They adopted that type, like the Soviet Union was looking to Sweden, and Sweden was like the intermediary between Britain and the Soviet Union, right? So it's like those guys got along better. That's why America, like, actually the 20th century is kind of a proxy war. The Cold War is really a proxy war between America and British interests, because America went with who? The Chinese, of course. You can even see this where it's like who's dealing with Cuba? Well, actually the Canadians are there. The Bank of Canada and the Bank of Scotland are operating out of Cuba, and Fidel Castro is a Freemason, just like the Trudeaus, and that's why he's fucking Justin Trudeau. It all comes together. It all makes sense.
Yeah, but Logo, don't you know that's just a conspiracy theory? And
Yeah. No, that's not how things actually work. Everything's just random.
Yeah,
dude.
Exactly.
Everything's just impersonal Everything's just impersonal forces that aren't embodied in any particular historical fashion. They're just these abstract forces and flows of power, like power flows, and just these circuits.
Dude, Logo,
it's all just
didn't
cybernetics.
You know that after the singularity of modernity, didn't you know that like everything like has no meaning anymore, and everything just happens like out of happen chance, and nothing has any like ulterior like origin or cause or anything like that. It's all just
it's all stuff.
Just random atoms moving.
It's kind of like it's like we can't even really talk about what is happening, because what is happening for you, what is happening for me, like it's really more of like a multiverse, right? It's really more of like there isn't a singular unitary reality. We all have our own reality. We get to manifest our own reality, and that's what freedom is when we completely manifest our own reality and we are completely solipsistic. That's the dream. And you know what? I'll tie this back to the earlier thing. That's how Chicago drivers are. They're all solipsists. They're literally psychotic. I don't think they have a theory of mind for other drivers. They were putting on like the left blinker and turning right and just like swerving in. I was like, are these like malfunctioning NPCs? Like I couldn't believe it. It was insane, dude. I could go off about Chicago drivers, dude. I was like, I've never been angry in my life. I was like, I understand why the murder rate is so high here.
You know, actually, I kind of feel that way about the Bay Area. To be honest, I hate driving in the Bay Area.
Oh,
It's
it's not
probably
that
one of
bad.
the worst places on earth.
Have you driven in Chicago?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay,
no.
well, if you drove in Chicago, you'd immediately reassess your opinion, I think. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, it's the worst.
I mean, I lived in the Bay Area. I went through high school in the Bay Area, man. It sucked. So
Where
I
have
don't
you-
know. Is it
where-
really worse than that?
Well, so you're up in Montana, right?
Yeah, I'm up in Montana right now.
So where is you like Bay Area, Montana? Where else? Like where have you driven?
I've also driven in Greece, kind of weirdly. All through like all the western states basically as well. I haven't really gone east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, so you haven't encountered like the majority of drivers in America actually.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
So you don't.
This is why I don't like fucking Easterners. I hate Easterners.
Why?
I made a whole thread about this. I dislike people from east of the Mississippi. Do not understand America. They do not understand the real heart and soul of America, which is, in my opinion, the West.
I dislike you too.
Well, we all have.
Yeah,
Fuck
you.
Well, the thing is
Fuck.
that we all have our mutual antipathies and things, and I think that the best way to sort all that out is how we do it with sports. Where everyone has their team, you root for your team, I root for my team. But at the end of the day, it's all the same sport.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just have no interest in going eastward is all.
Oh, why not? There's a lot of beautiful things out in the east, dude. It's all our country. It's all here. It's all for us.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I feel more connected to the states of California and Montana than I do.
Yeah. No, well, for sure, you're always going to feel that connection to like where you're from and stuff, and that type of loyalty to like the soil, even, and like the things you see around. Like your coat. Like, dude, I felt the swamp heat when I got up here around the humid heat, and I was like, oh, I haven't felt this in a while. I used to not like it, but it's kind of refreshing. I haven't felt it in a while. It reminds me of home, right? I'm literally at my home, being like I feel reminded of home, but it's nice.
Yeah, I understand that.
But I'm not going to talk too much shit. I can talk shit on Easterners, but it's also a big place, right? Like I'm out here and like this area is zoned for agriculture actually. So there's farms. There's not like big ones. But there's like horse people live out here too. So we got people with like their little like horses. They're like the ride or whatever.
Yeah,
they're buying up those hay bales, man. Let me tell you. But like people have cows. People have cows here. There's like some cows. There's like they used to grow like pumpkins and stuff. But that's kind of like a touristy sort of dumb thing. But there's like hop farms. There's a lot of weed here now too. But like weed farming, I think honestly is like hemp farming too. Iowa is going with the hemp farming. Industrial hemp is like that would be a really good export too. And you can do so much. You can do so much refining, like industrial refining of hemp into various products. You can make so many like hemp plastics and things. Like hemp could be like what saves America. That's what I believe. I think the communist
weedocracy.
I think the American communist flag should just be like a pot leaf.
Isn't that just Canada?
No, no, that's ours.
Yeah,
it's an American plant.
Is that ours though? Is it actually a North American plant? I thought it was.
There used to be. Listen, man. There used to be. Kentucky had its own strain of. Dude, do you know the history of hemp growing? Hemp growing was mandated by Queen Elizabeth. Everyone had to grow hemp.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. There's a great Victorian, Elizabethan poem called "In Praise of Hemp Seed."
Huh.
Yeah,
okay.
It goes deep into really, if you want to talk about the history of marijuana and the hemp seeds and all this, it really travels down the Silk Road, and a lot of it stems from like Taoist alchemy. Their use of this because the original hemp seeds, I believe, come from China. So it makes its way all the way over here, and we made paper. We did everything with it. The dollar used to be hemp. I mean, the early like Model Ts, they made parts and stuff out of like materials that they refined out of hemp. Like, if you want to read more about this, I would look up. It's called the Fiber Wars. You can see a lot of American politics and like history come from these internal conflicts between the interests of production of various fiber making materials. For instance, we got the wood pulp interest, which is where I'm from, right? We got a bunch of trees up here. We had a huge timber industry. We used to have paper mills, and so we always we had the paper dollar, right? We were like, yeah, fuck yeah, the paper dollar. We have trees industries. We're the paper industry. The South, they're like cotton. And guess what? Guess what our dollar is made out of right now, folks? You know what's in our dollar? What is it made out of? It's made out of plastic and cotton, oil
Yeah.
and cotton.
Well, I was gonna say the it was like all of our like rope and some of our insulation was made from hemp too for like a really really long time. And even to this day, like a lot of sailors and a lot of fishing vessels
Yeah, it's
still
the
use
best
hemp.
nautical. That's why Queen Elizabeth forced people to grow it because they needed it for the nautical rope. Like you need a lot of hemp for like those old style of ships.
Yeah.
Man, this ties to what like Marshall McLuhan says, where like diseases are artifacts.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I think like I always think of like a kind of like psychochemical history of like a sort of alchemical history of the world, right? Where it's like these how these sense ratios are defined too. I was explaining to my dad my the theory that the boomers are all fucking insane because they're all on like these weird psychedelics and like quaaludes and things that don't even exist anymore. But at the same time, all their gasoline was leaded, so they're all mad hatters because they all have fucking lead poisoning.
No, I think that's legitimately true. I think that's actually fucking true.
Like that actually happened at the end of the Roman Empire too, because they had if you it was something with their aqueducts. They were using lead or something, in their
Yeah,
aqueducts.
yeah. Their
The
plumbing
pipes,
was made
the
out of
plumbing
lead
was made out of
pipes.
lead. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So they were all fucking lead poisoned too. Isn't that America, dude? And then I was sitting at the bar. I was like, "This is Rome, dude." And there's like the UFC fight was on this huge screen, just like two gladiators literally like beating each other to death for the entertainment of the
Yeah,
globe. I'm like, "This is Rome.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
Rome."
No, no, no. I think about that every day because well, I mean, not every day, every week, pretty much. Like every week, I think about like if someone from like fucking like 200 AD living in like Italy like came up to fucking North America or like anywhere within the Western quote unquote fucking world, uh, you would just see Rome everywhere. They'd be like, oh, I guess the Roman Empire is still around. Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
They would just think it's the same fucking thing.
I was saying, like, when I was standing at Mount Rushmore, I was like, oh boy, would I love to tell these people we got a Jesuit president. like, I wonder what they'd have to say about that.
I'd
Literally.
love to see people have a Jesuit president.
No, seriously, seriously. If you went back, people don't believe me when I say this, but if you went back in time and you told like the old founding fathers, you told any of the presidents at any point, and you were like, "Hey, we had like the civil rights movement, and like black people and women are like enfranchised and they have the right to vote or whatever," they'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, that's the Chartists, etc. We could have seen that coming. Like did it work out, etc. Like they had these fears that these things would like lead to societal collapse or whatever, but they didn't see them as totally impossibilities, right? Total impossibilities. But if you were like, hey, we've got the Jesuits, the Jesuit Pope, and the Jesuit President, and the Jesuit head of the CDC, of the WHO. We got the Doctor Jesuit on TV. The Jesuits are controlling everything. They'd be like, "What the fuck happened? Like, what happened? Like, seriously?" It's like, what's going on? Like, what is happening? And then it's like, yeah, and basically, yeah, we just like subservient. We just basically enforce the British Empire still. Like, we're kind of just like the running dogs of the Brits and the Swedes. They'd be like, what the fuck? The Swedes? The Swedes? The fucking Sven, the dumb Svens? They're fucking. What did they do?
Yeah, the guys they fucking kicked out of North America like centuries ago. Like what?
It's so funny, man.
That is that would be really really interesting to see that interaction.
Well, it's funny because people have these simulations of what people thought like and like what their actual prejudices or whatever were in the past, but they like don't have enough of a world historical conception of like the literature here. Like they haven't read enough from these people, so they just like make it up in their heads. They're like, oh yeah, George Washington was like super he just like thought really racistly or whatever. It's like that's not really like I don't know. People don't take like the world historical reality of slavery as an institution for thousands, for like millennia, really. Like the fact that like this has been like slave revolts and like the spread and like of slavery and then its destruction has like been a long story in history, going way way back. It's like this is kind of like the through line of history, such that it's like they act as if like it's like, well, my ancestors were enslaved, man. My ancestors were enslaved a long time ago. Not that any one of my ancestors owned slaves, because I have got a vocational surname, sir. Like I'm from the peasantry of England. Like I was like back in the day. Like my family, like I have ancestors on the Mayflower. Like they came over here to do farm work and shit. That's what that's what it was. did real fucking productive labor. Not that that's
Why is
like
it?
it's like my family hasn't been doing like it's more like it adapts with the times. It's not like we're all doing our ancestral vocation out here, but it's not really an existing job anymore. But I retain it as my surname.
There's no class analysis by the Zacchaeus when it comes to the Puritans and the Pilgrims that immigrated from England. They
Dude,
don't really.
the American people don't even like exist in the fucking Zacchaeus worldview. They literally don't even exist. Every single American
They're
is some sort
drones.
of like yeah, yeah.
They're like murder drones in their mind. They're like, oh yeah, they were just like
Basically.
these like rapacious beasts.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
they all the American settlers, they all burned like women at the stake. They all like owned slaves. They all of them killed Native Americans.
And they wanted to,
Um,
and like they wanted to kill every homosexual or whatever. They wanted to just
yeah,
kill
yeah.
people openly, just to like brutalize all people who were different from them. That's what they believed, right? The
Yeah,
dissenters, the
they
dissenters
hate
wanted to kill
America.
everyone who was different from them, right? Yeah, right.
They hate America not just in like the like colloquial
In a metaphysical
MAGA
sense.
person sense.
No, they hate
Yeah,
the
but like in a
American people.
metaphysical sense, they hate America. They hate the American people. They hate the soil that they live on.
They hate
They
people
because they
who
all
love this country. They hate people who love this
yes,
country, who have an authentic
yes.
a love for things that they can't even articulate in language because it's so deep and profound that there's no way they can
They
even
are
articulate it.
yeah, they are the ideological descendants of fucking loyalists. That's what they are. They
They're
really are
Cavaliers.
that.
The Democrats are the
Yeah,
Cavaliers, and the Republicans are the Puritans, and that's how it's always been. The problem with the Puritans right now is that they are fucking deists. They became deists, and that's really what happened. Is like the Unitarian, like you had. It happened here. It happened here. I'm not gonna lie. It happened up here. It's my people responsible for that. It's the Yankees responsible for that. I'm not gonna lie to you there. But that's what happened. But it wasn't really. It was really the commercial Yankees. It was like the ones that were like really into the Dutch, the ones who were like really like Amsterdam, like
yeah.
the Dutch,
The
and
fucking
like
Boston merchants.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Boston, New
yeah.
York merchants who were like, oh, we can make a lot of money selling opium to China, and they did. Boy, did they.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But that's like why Boston is like a parasite on the real rest of New England. Like like people like Boston. Like it's like kind of we rally around it as like a sports thing. But pretty much even like the most Bostonian Bostoners or people who are like fuck Boston. Like it's like everyone like.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the beauty of Yankees is we're the most honest people in America. We're the most honest people in America. That's what I've learned throughout my travels. And sometimes that's hard, and sometimes it sucks, and everyone's really loud and like you talk over each other. And you're an asshole like openly. You're an asshole openly, and people are like, "Hey, buddy, you're an asshole." And you're like, "Yeah, buddy, I'm an asshole, but so are you. You're a fucking asshole too, and you're retarded." But you're my brother, and that's the vibe of New England. And like there's a lot to
Yeah.
say for like Southern manners. I love Southern manners. They do this in their own way. They do it. Oh, bless your heart. I'll pray for you. They have a little winking irony, a little dryness that sometimes the Yankees don't understand in their more serious presentation of themselves. It's like I'm being authentic here. Like I'm not filtering my thoughts at all. I'm saying exactly what the fuck's on my mind without fucking no
No.
filler. That's the Yankee mindset. So there's a lot to say,
No,
and
I feel like
I like the different ways, the folk ways. Like, Lord, do I wish I had a Southern accent because I really think it's the American sound. It's like the sound of American poetry. Is really like you got to have
exactly.
the drawl, and it's the oldest English accent. Like we have accents that are closer to the King James accent, to the writings of Shakespeare. We sound more like that than those Brits. Those Brits with their received pronunciation, Victorian ass fucking affected English just so that they could feel like differentiate themselves from the proles and serfs or whatever. They really
Yeah,
developed that
wasn't it
accent.
literally just made up? Wasn't it just
Yes,
fucking made up?
yeah, it was made up by the aristocracy. It was like it's sort of like the kind of like affected like L.A. speech or something like that. Where it's I'm saying like a
Yeah.
lot, but that's just because I'm my brain is fast and I'm kind of autistic or schizo or something. But I'm not going like yes, vocal fry or whatever. But people have these affectations. Like there's accent. Something you have like accents are affected as well, and accents do have this sort of like social signaling. Like in England, everyone knows what class everyone is as soon as they open their fucking mouth. They know they can like be like, oh, you were born in this corner in like fucking Norwich or whatever. Like they know exactly where you're from by your accent.
They can basically tell your fucking profession from that too. I mean, like if you have like a Welsh accent, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, your dads are definitely coal miners."
The thing is that like in America, there's a like do you remember they invented the transatlantic accent like in the early Hollywood? They had this
Yeah.
accent that was so they could sell it to like to the English speaking market generally, like across like that this is like these types of like fake accents that are created in order to like create a new polity, even where it's like, oh yeah, we're all coming together, so we need this new accent that everyone's going to talk in. It's this cool like mixture of like British English and like New York Manhattan English or whatever. That's like a whole thing. But I think the authentic sound of America is like the country sound, man. The country music, man. Bob Dylan in the '70s, man. I'm talking like street legal era, man. I'm talking the fucking medicine show, Bob Dylan. That's America, man. This like the slur, the draw, like making up new words, fucking coining new phrases, like a feather in your hat and calling it macaroni. That's what they used to make fun of us for, us Yankees. And what we did, they called us Yankees, and we said, hell yeah, we're fucking Yankees. Yankee Doodle Dandy, bitch. That's New England, baby.
What do you think about like African American vernacular?
Oh, I love it, dude. Actually, I love it. It retains a lot of because Gaelic it has an Afro-Asiatic substrate, and North and West African languages have similar grammatical structures. So, for instance, like I was talking to some African American vernacular English speakers, you could say, if you want to be really PC. I was talking to some African American vernacular English speakers about this, and I was talking about the difference between Ben, like I've been going to the store and I've been done going to the store. Like that type of that there's types of tenses that exist in African American vernacular English that exist in Gaelic or like in Appalachian English. Like I'm a walking, like a walking is like a type of conjugation of a verb, which is like actually very useful. It's sort of like how y'all, like the Southerners have y'all, and it's like everyone else is like you guys, you people, all of you, and like just vaguely or like vaguely just saying you plural instead of just being like y'all. Y'all is like literally everyone should say like the progressives have like kind of tried to take that and be like y'all folks to like affect this type of like Hillary Clinton at the black church saying I done
Yeah,
what did
no,
she
no, no.
say?
What it is an affected black scent. That's basically what it fucking is.
Yeah,
That's what the
they
fucking
want to
like
speak
white
Ebonics.
Twitter leftists want.
Well, it's like, listen, man, I
Yeah.
want to speak Ebonics too because it's so fun. It's so like it's such a beautiful. It sounds so good. Like I love rap music. I love how they like invent new words and like slur the words in new ways, and it's like so fun. Like I love poetry. I love invention and with words, and it's like all of that's really going there. You know what I mean? Like there's very like there like that's where the real like poetic force is in America is in the popular music and like in the country music. And really, rap music's country music, man. If you listen to old Honky Tonk, it's all about the same shit. Literally all the same subject. It's like, yeah, I did coke and like fucking shot people today. That's like a Honky Tonk song. For real. They're like,
That's
I went down
literally
to,
all
yeah.
country music.
Yeah, it's like
What
I
the fuck?
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all outlaw music, It's like what's the difference between like, and then there's like the outlaw who comes to Christ, which is like the ultimate figure, the ultimate American figure, right? Like you got Kanye West or you got like Bob Dylan, you got these people like, these people who like Johnny Cash, right? You got these people and they're like, yeah, I'm a fucking rambler. I'm a honky tonkin' man. I've been done around this world and I've been in the palace of sin and I've been in the heart of it all and I've seen it all. And I know the one thing that's going to save you is the truth.
Also,
That's
a lot of rap and vernacular come from a lot of country saying that would seem to be like white people words, quote unquote. A lot of that stuff came from black people too, because the slaves
Yeah,
had
it's a
like.
beautiful mixture. It's a mixture because you had the
Mm-hmm.
Scotch Irish, right? You had the Scots Irish. You had and even amongst the Africans themselves, they had like Arabic and like North African like guitars. Like why do we play guitars? Like it's a Spanish instrument. It's like a North African instrument, really. Guitars like the guitar becoming like a major thing in America is actually really wild. They didn't have guitars back in the 1700s.
Banjos were black, and we always had the best beats, so we added that, and country
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are able to use it now to like
Yeah,
add more
exactly.
flavor to the
No,
music, vice versa.
Western musical academics, I fucking hate that term, academics. They essentially stole what was, or they didn't steal, but they took from like black culture and gave no credit. That's what they took it from black musical culture and gave it no credit whatsoever. And now
I don't know.
it's
What
like
do you
part of
mean
like the West.
specifically?
It's part of the Western musical like I don't know, hermeneutic maybe
Well,
or
you mean like how rock music was started? Like
yeah, pretty
for an
much.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rock music, like all American music, is this confluence of tons of different styles of music from the beginning.
It was always a
No,
fusion. Like then it's
Yeah,
like
it's
one thing
always
I
been like
noticed.
that.
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
even
No,
with
my
something like
my problem
country.
isn't with that. My problem is with this idea that it's somehow always been part of like the Western music. Like it's like a European thing now. It's like a
What
European
is?
thing, you know.
What is?
Like
What is a European thing?
Western
Music in general.
American music is now like being co-opted by Europeans.
Oh well, I mean, there's a big market for it. Because we're the entertainment of the globe. But that, like, that's the funny thing is
We
like
are
they can't.
Disneyland. Of course they're
Yeah,
gonna
we are
take it.
Disneyland, and we go on tour in Europe because guess what? What the fuck? What music are they putting out, man? It's not that good. Their club music, dude, that
Fucking
shit's
nothing.
boring, dude. You want to hear German club music the rest of your life? Fuck no, dude. Hell
No,
no.
I've heard way too much of it. Yeah.
Yeah, European music sucks now. All that variety that European culture had due to the like Bretton Woods or whatever the fuck, due to that the British, due to the British domination of the rest of the continent, European music sucks.
Mostly, yeah, mostly. Honestly, like I even have this argument with people when they're like, "Oh," I was like, I was hanging with my friend. We were listening to some like fucking classic death metal shit, and I was like, "Death metal is so fucking American, like as a sound." And I tweeted that, and people were like, "It's a Scandinavian Nordic thing." And I'm like, "No, it's not. Like, no, it's
No,
fucking not. Like, you guys, literally, what's so funny to me is like, why does Varg Vikernes exist? Is because Kiss was really popular in the '70s in Sweden and Norway and all that, and the Scandinavia. They really liked Kiss. Kiss is Detroit music, man. All of this metal shit is about
Zilla
Gene Simmons.
Kami,
It's from a Jew.
Zilla
It's
Kami
so
go hard
funny.
trap
I
metal.
love Kiss. I love Kiss though. Kiss rocks, dude. Black
Tommy,
Diamond.
Zillakami is some crazy.
Zillakami rocks, dude. I was playing Zillakami in the car actually.
No, I'm not saying he sounds bad. I think sometimes his music videos are fucked up.
Oh yeah,
But
Oh
he's
yeah,
just saying
yeah.
he got issues, but like man, his shit be going hard sometimes.
oh no,
Dude, I like him. I like him a lot.
I,
I like how he's like he wants to be like a grunge band. That's right. Like I thought that they should have used Zillakami in the new Batman movie instead of Nirvana. I think that would have been tight.
Yeah, that
yeah.
would have went hard.
That would
Like
have went so
then
hard.
y'all know y'all can't sleep on Playboy Cardi. Playboy
Dude,
Cardi been
I
making a
made
whole
my
new wave.
I made
Playboy
my
Cardi
dad listen
Maoism.
to a whole
Playboy
lot of
Cardi
Red.
Maoism.
I made my
Did
dad
you?
listen to a whole lot of Red.
Did you like it? Did you like it?
He can't when he can't understand the lyrics. He's like the big poetry guy, right? He loves song lyrics and he can't immediately
Oh,
understand it. So it's like he's like, yeah, this is all right. But when I played like other rap where it's like less like warping voices and it's like easier to understand, he likes rap. I mean, my dad used to listen to Lupe Fiasco with me back in the day when I was first getting into rap as
Lupe
a kid.
Fiasco is a fucking technician of wordsmithing.
Yeah, dude,
That guy is.
Lupe's tight. I love Lupe.
Y'all like
Gotta go to
Wise
Harvard to
Boy
be a Lupe
Jeremy.
stan.
I know y'all would like Wise Boy Jeremy. He's like he does the old school stuff. So a lot of rappers aren't able to be as lyrical due to the since a lot of them hide behind 808s and cymbals and shit. But if
Yeah,
y'all listen to Wise Boy Jeremy, he go hard. Like I mainly like the rappers
dude,
that
I
either
like
like
Bones.
Lil Uzi's or that can like be mad lyrical.
I was listening to Bones because Bones is like our Rust Belt rapper, honestly. Like Bones is like the Rust Belt rapper, I think. Like he is like, he was like scrapping copper and he like has his like trucker hat on. I love Bones, dude. I vibe with him. He's cool.
I
I
gotta
think he
check
knows
him out.
Charles. He knows Charles from MD. He's like also super independent. Like he's tight. I love him. He was ahead of the curve on so much shit. If you want to really go back to it, like listen to his shit from like 2013 or whatever, he was really ahead of the curve.
I need to go check him out because like also like listen
Team
to
Sesh,
Denzel
yeah.
Curry. Like
Dude, I
Denzel,
actually booked Denzel Curry when I was in college, back when like N64 first came out. I ran projections for the show. Like I hung out with him, talked
Denzel
about Little
Curry.
Ugly
bro,
Man.
he goes
Denzel Curry is
crazy.
next up. Denzel Curry is
Dude,
100% next up.
he's
Mad
already up. I don't
underrated.
know, dude. He's already dude. The Blood In, Blood Out tape is so fucking good. I love that
His
shit. Oh,
newest
dude.
his newest stuff,
Oh, guys,
he collabed
I
with
gotta
T
get off.
Pain.
My brother's home. My little brother's home. I haven't seen him in a
Uh,
long time, so I'm gonna get off now. I'm gonna go hang out with my little bro. All right. But it's
all
been
right.
nice, guys.